We are live, man. How's everyone doing out there? Hope everyone is doing great, man. Baseball second half preview of the All-Star break, man. And two of these baseball teams right here on the screen will be doing battle in the World Series, and one of these teams will be champion this year, man. Or will we get like a shocking result and a team that's not even on the top six teams, top 12 teams, man? Will one of those teams be champion? Padres and Mets, man. I'm looking at you. Very disappointing year for some of these baseball teams, man. Some of these teams have choked, and some of these teams have shocked, man. And let's talk a little bit more in depth about some of these baseball teams. Wanted to get my thoughts on the season so far, and teams that are doing pretty much a historical start to the year in terms of the first half, man. And that team that has that historical start is going to be this freaking Atlanta Braves ball club, man. They got a lot of power on that lineup. Matt Olson's got like 30 home runs this year, 72 RBIs, and he's probably not even the best player on the team in terms of MVP. Possible MVP candidate with Ronald Acuna. This Braves team played very similar last year as well. A lot of home runs, a lot of power, slugging percentage. The playoffs came around last year, man, and they choked against Philly. I think they lost 4 games to 1 to Philly, and the last 2 games, Atlanta looked very, very, very shady, man. I think they lost the final 2 games against the Phillies, and I think the offense went very quiet. So, I'm going to talk about some of these baseball teams so far this year, but the playoffs are a whole different animal, man. I mean, the Phillies last year went 38 and 32 to close the second half, man. And all of a sudden, the team went 10 and 2 to win the National League pennant. So, I'm going to make a little series on baseball. I'm going to come back here and try to make a video every so often. So, just to keep track on some of these teams, man. But, what happens right now may have very little to do with the actual playoff. Um, just wanted to mention, man, baseball is a very difficult sport to pick the winners. Last year we had two teams that won less than 90 games face off for the pennant, man. So will we have something like that again this year? Atlanta, man, if they have to at least make it to the NLCS, man. If they choke again like last year, it'd be very embarrassing for that ball club. There might be even some changes on that team, man, if something like that happened, because they have such an elite roster, this Atlanta Braves ball club, but they can't choke in the playoffs, man, like they did last year. You know, we'll see, man. The team has a bunch of experience. The pitching staff on Atlanta is very young, except for Charlie Morton, right? But they have that kid Elder. The Spencer Strider, Fareed is hurt. The other pitcher as well is hurt, Kyle Wright. So a lot of question marks on this Atlanta Braves ball club as they close the year. I think health is going to be the most important thing for them. Will they make a trade to get another starter? I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams ahead of them that are going to probably offer a lot more to get a starter, man. One of those teams that I think needs to get a starter to close the year is Tampa Bay, man. Tampa Bay got hit a little bit with the injuries, and they've kind of slowed down, man. This team got off to a historic start this year. I think they won the first 13 ball games. They were outscoring their competition at a historical pace. But all of a sudden, to close that second half, man, Tampa Bay started to lose a bunch of ball games, man. I think they finished on a 7-game losing streak. No, I think they might have won the last game to close the first half of the season, but the team lost 7 in a row, man. And is that championship caliber to lose like that? I mean, you know, it could be growing pains, I guess, at this part of the year to have them. But we saw the Yankees last year have that great historical start, and they faded, and they were never able to recover, man. So this is a team that needs to get a veteran, top tier starting pitcher. We've heard, rumors of Max Scherzer. Maybe the Mets might deal him to Tampa Bay. We'll see, man. I'm going to talk about the trades in a little bit as well. But like I'm mentioning, man, the Rays are a great ball club in terms of their lineup. They hit for a lot of power, similar to Atlanta. The thing about this ball club, man, is the injuries. Again, I think they lost the starting pitcher for the year as well. I mean, but this team is still top 5 in the major leagues, slugging percentage, hitting, fielding, They're very balanced ball club like Atlanta, but the starting rotation is getting thinned out to injury, and who knows if Tyler Glass now will be able to hold up all the way through the playoffs, right? I mean, the playoffs in the past, man, he's been kind of shaky. Um, 2020, that Rays bullpen was top tier. Um, well, we'll see, man. This is a team that I circled as like a possible, like, ALCS pennant winner, obviously because they were so hot. But all of a sudden, man, this playing field could get a little bit evened out in the American League, man. And let's keep going right here with some of these top tier teams that I think could maybe not just compete for the pennant, but maybe even compete for a championship, man. And the Dodgers are a team that honestly shouldn't even be in this position because of all the injuries they've had this year, man. But the offense on this team is carrying them. They have such a devastating one through three hitters on that ball club, man. MVPs with Mookie and Freeman, obviously. A lot of question marks, obviously, with the Dodgers, right? With the bullpen, the injuries to the starting pitching staff. The trades are going to be massive in this year because of all the injuries to these teams. A lot of these teams are going to be putting high bids to get some of these top tier relievers, man. And one team that got ahead of the schedule was the Rangers, man. They already got Chapman from the Royals, and we'll talk about the Rangers in a little bit. That's an interesting team coming down the stretch. A lot of people talk a lot of crap about Dave Roberts this year, but and maybe in terms of like a leadership capacity, maybe he's doing a good job because this team, they lost their probably two best pitchers for like almost the whole freaking year. Kershaw's been a little bit banged up, man. So what team out there has had these kind of injuries and they've still been able not only to stay afloat, but they're playing even better down the stretch, man. I think the Dodgers have won, I think seven in the last 10 ball games going back to the before the All-Star break. So, this is a dangerous ball club in the playoffs because of their experience. A lot of top tier hitters, man, that make the pitchers work, man. JD Martinez was a huge pickup. Jason Hayward against right-handed hitters, also very, very good pickup. So I'm gonna check. Let's keep an eye out on LA Dodgers coming down the stretch. They've been in second place pretty much all freaking year, man, but they just have not stopped. Relentless. And now they're in first place, man. Arizona kind of fell off a little bit. Kind of opened up the door for LA to sneak in that first place in the NL West, man. But this is a team that is going to need to boost the starting rotation. Noah Syndergaard, bad signing, but what could you do, right? I mean, it was kind of a desperate move. If they if the Dodgers are going to work him back in the rotation, that's going to be interesting, man. But who knows, man? Maybe like Syndergaard turns around his career and he has like a good finish to the year. Moving along, man. These injuries have been the theme of these playoffs, man. A team that has also gotten messed up from the injuries. This is Houston Astros Ball Club with Altuve, with Jordan Alvarez. You know, excuse me. Last year's World Series champions have been in second place pretty much all freaking year, man. Who would have thought that, right? The freaking Rangers with Bruce Bochy in first place. This is a team that has been in the ALCS 6 years in a row, man. They've won four pennants in those 6 years, two championships. All right. Will this team be back in it at the end? They lost McCullers Jr. I mean, he's been banged up already. They lost Luis Garcia. Pretty much Framber's the dog holding that rotation down. You know, will this team get a starting pitcher, man? All these teams need help down the stretch. All these teams are injured, banged up, question marks. Like I mentioned, that trade deadline is going to be huge, man. Dusty Baker, solid manager. We saw him, completely outclass the Phillies manager in the playoffs last year with, great moves to the bullpen, kind of feeling out his pitchers. And he had top tier pitchers last year, man. A lot of devastating arms. Framber, even Verlander, last year had a pretty good playoff, sort of, right? But Astros will be an interesting team down the stretch in terms of their health. Will they fall off this year, man? Will this be the first year in 6 years in a row that they won't be in the ALCS? I don't know, man. I kind of think the Astros might be back in it when it comes down to it because of the trades. I think the owner, the GM, I think they're gonna bring in some talent, man, to close out the trade deadline. And American League team, man, that I liked last year. I think I made a video, man. Teams that I thought could be a sleeper last year to do something. And obviously they fell flat, man, on the playoffs. They didn't even win a single playoff game last year, man. What will happen to this team this year, man? So, Vlad Jr. has had a down year. Alec Manoah, man, completely fell off. Man, who knows what happened with that player, man? Was he cheating last year? Velocity's down, spin rate down this year. He pitched good. I think a couple, 1, 2 starts before the All Star break. So we'll see, man. I mean, Toronto needs Alec Manoah and Wasman as that devastating 1-2 punch. They have the third option pitcher, Ryu, the lefty, the softy. Guy probably throws like 88. So they have three decent pitchers, man. Of all these teams that I'm talking about, this team probably has top three pitching pitchers if Manoah is able to come back and do it. All these other teams that I'm talking about, maybe the Braves. I think the Braves have like the top tier pitching stuff, right? With like Strider, Elder, Morton, and then they're gonna bring in Fareed. So besides the Braves, I think the Blue Jays might be like well positioned in terms of three solid starting pitchers. But question mark if Manoah's back, man, because he got lit up every single start, even in the minor leagues. That guy's been getting lit up, man. This could be a team like the Phillies last year, where they have sort of like they're such a young team still, man, with Bichette, Kirk, Varsho. They have Springer and stuff like that, a veteran, but he's falling off a little bit, man. Vlad Jr.'s got to finish the year strong, man, and we'll see about Toronto, man, because they're close to not even making the playoffs, man. It's going to be interesting the down stretch. Baltimore might knock them to the playoffs. They might take that the wild card seed. Rangers and Astros will be fighting as well in the AL West. And let's talk about a team, man, that I talked about at the beginning. This Phillies ball club, will they be making a move at the trade deadline? You know, Trey Turner is a player that has disappointed this year big time. 11 years contract, huge money, man. But the guy's hitting like 240 this year. Horrible on base percentage, man. Horrible slugging percentage as well. What will happen to him second half of the year, man? Is he hurt? What's going on with Trey Turner, man? But the Phillies last year, man, like I mentioned earlier, they won 38 ball games and they lost 32 in the second half of the year. All of a sudden they got hot and they won 10 ball games in 12 games to win the pennant last year, man. Incredible performances from Ranger Suarez, from their other two starting pitchers, Wheeler and Nola, right? Will they run the table again this year, man? They have the Braves number in the playoffs. Both times they faced them in their franchise, man. The Philly, they've knocked off Atlanta. It's a team that the Braves don't want to face because they know them very well. Got a lot of experience against them. And, Philly got some dogs, man. So a team that, will they go back? Will they repeat? They have the same ball club. Their two pitchers are healthy, Wheeler and Nola. They've been down this year, right? But the playoffs coming. These dudes can turn it on, and we'll see. A team that has hugely shocked the MLB world. They had that one signing with DeGrom, but the pitchers on the Rangers, no one saw that coming with some of these dudes that they've had career years with, man. I think Evaldi's had a very, very good year, but he's been up and down with the Red Sox. But some of these starting pitchers on the Rangers having career years. However, they've fallen off, man. In the last 30 games, Texas has won 13 before the All Star break, man, and Houston is closing in on them, man. So What will this Rangers ball club do, man? They're going to be aggressive at the trade deadline. Like I mentioned, they got Chapman. Will they get a starting pitcher, man? When I'm talking about all the starting pitchers, man, maybe like a Stroman, Scherzer might be out there. The Chicago White Sox starters might be out there. The Cardinals pitchers might be out there with Flaherty. So it's going to be a great trade deadline coming up, man. And things could be moving in terms of a team that was like down here, so like on the fence, all of a sudden it's going to jump up to a top fave. And this Rangers ball club can be one of those teams, man. They might make a move to get another starting pitcher to replace DeGrom, and they'll have like three or four top starting pitchers, and the field could get evened out, man. So right here, man, just to don't make this too long of a video. These are your standings. I think from a couple of hours ago. Might be not up to date with some of the late games that went on right now. Huge, shocking, disappointing teams right there at the bottom with San Diego, with the Mets, with the Yankees. Huge payrolls on those ball clubs and a lot of question marks in those clubhouses, man. Do some of those players not even like each other? The manager, did he lose the team? A lot of things will happen with those ball clubs as well to close the year, man. Will those teams be adding players? Will those teams be selling players? The Padres are a team that could be that could be selling. I don't know, right? I mean, will they trade Blake Snow? Will they trade Hader? Will they trade Juan Soto? All those dudes will be free agents next year, man. Going to be an interesting next couple of weeks in baseball, man. A lot of storylines, a lot of narratives. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to the end of the year. A lot, and then going at those top of those standings, man. Those top teams right there, the freaking Baltimore Orioles, man, with no good starting pitchers. How do they win so many games, man? I think most of their pitchers have like almost like a 4.0 ERA, and their offense is kind of like middle of the pack. They have such a young team, man. Cedric Mullins, the catcher, Austin Hayes, Santander, all those guys, man. Adley Rutschman, the catcher. Will they hold up to close the year, or will that Orioles lack of experience, lack of great starting pitching staff hurt them? The bullpen on the Orioles, I guess, is the reason why they've kind of held on, I guess, in those late games. We'll see, man. I mean, who knows if some of these teams will copy like the Orioles success formula with having kind of like a young whatever starting pitching staff, having a good offense and having a great bullpen just to hold on to that lead to close some of these games, man. Arizona's a team that's slowly fallen off. Um, I don't think they'll be able to hold on to the NL West. The pressure coming down the stretch of the year. I think the Dodgers will easily win the NL West. Arizona might be a team that, if they don't start playing better, man, they could even be out of the playoffs. All right. It's gonna take teams like Philly, teams like the Padres, man. The Padres are such a huge disappointment, man. They're 18 games out of the best team in baseball, about 8 games behind the Arizona Diamondbacks, and about 7.5 games behind the Giants, man. So 6.5 games out of the Giants. Man, the Padres, embarrassing. That's pretty much the video, man. Just to want to give my thoughts on baseball, what I'm liking, what I'm seeing right now. Probably gonna be coming back here trade deadline, maybe the day before, the day after, giving my thoughts on what happened, what I'm thinking. Um, you know, we'll see. Um, any of these players will be switching teams, man. The All Star starting catcher, will he be changing teams? That top reliever for the Pirates, Stroman, Hader. What will the future be for these players? Will Max Scherzer get moved as well again to a new baseball team? Dodgers, Mets, Tampa Bay Rays. But we'll see, man. Just wanted to give my thoughts, man. Hope everyone's doing great out there. I think last time I came out here and we talked a bunch of NBA basketball, it didn't go as we wanted it to, man. The Denver Nuggets, um, powerhouse team, they embarrassed Miami. It should have been a sweep. It is what it is, man. But I hope everyone's doing great out there. Like I mentioned, I'm probably gonna come back here, trade deadline, and give my thoughts on some of these. Shit. What's up, Mr. London Sports Talk? How you doing, brother? How's everything, man? Dodgers red hot. Dodgers red hot, man. Mentioned that they're easily going to win the NL West, man, and we'll see, man. The playoffs, London. We'll see if they can run the table. They need to add pitchers, bro. They need, like, obviously, right. They need to add pieces. Um, we'll see, man. That's a team that could be kind of scary coming down the stretch because they have a lot of experience in that team, man. Oh no, it's all good, man. I was just to get out of here. I was about to get out of here, man. Just wanted to get my thoughts on baseball, but I'm gonna come back here, man. I'm gonna come back here and talk trade deadline 2023. Look at look at the rumors. Look at what's happening, and see what happens, man. Give my thoughts afterwards. Which team could do it? Whew, all right, man. But I hope everyone is doing great out there, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.